relationship a little bit, different, maybe the same as other people see it. But to me, it's not about being happy when you are in a relationship, because every day is going to be different. So going back to the story that you guys started with, that somebody made a comment on social media.
Yes.
That marrying or finding somebody younger is actually an advantage, because as you keep growing, as the day goes by, years and what have you, you become something else. You grow to become this, you form your ideas and all of that. How about if you started younger, in the process of you forming those ideas, you form it with somebody else. So as you form it with that person, it makes life easier, because at that point you're not fully formed.
Because they're malleable.
You said what?
Because they're manipulatable.
It's not like they are manipulated, because you gotta understand that at that point both of you are still growing and forming your opinions and this and that. So once you guys get together at a younger age, it is much more easier to work on those opinions and the way you see the world and all of that.
I think that's tough, and I can speak, this is just my perspective, because again, because we are young, we don't know who we're going to become. And because we don't, we could grow in two totally different ways. And now as adults, we have different values and different things going on. And it can be really hard, because again, we get into that. We've been together forever. We're so committed, but we're separate people with different values. And now are we committed because we feel stuck here? But truthfully, if we met today, now 15 years down the line, would I have stopped and wanted you? Because you're not necessarily who I would have seen myself with today in this moment. You're not the good match for me. I think it just depends on the person. Some people can meet very young and fall in love and it works. It just really depends.
Yeah, so remember I started by saying that marriage is not about happiness, it's about duty and responsibility. So if that is what you say to yourself right from the word go, and you're not looking for happiness, you'll be able to work through a lot of the things that comes with it.
I don't know that marriage is a duty or responsibility.
It's different ways of seeing it. And I'll give you a good example. For a very long time, when you were young and you wanted to get married, your family chose somebody for you,
right? And
you married that person. So that proves the duty and the responsibility. So they tell you, hey, if you marry, you gotta do X, Y, and Z. You did that. The man, this is your responsibility. You did X, Y, and Z. And they stayed together and everything worked, because everybody was focused on what they had to do.
The business of marriage.
Right.
Business. Just like you go to work and they tell you, hey, you gotta do X, Y, and Z. You do that. And everything works at your job. But when you come home and your husband say, oh, there are certain things you're supposed to do at the house, and you say, I don't want to do it, and you're wondering why things are not going the way that it's supposed to go, because we are looking at it differently. That it's not a job. If you look at it like this is my duty and my responsibility, everything will work much more better in relationship. Like you wake up one day and you're like, you know what, I don't want to, like this morning, somebody asked me to make eggs for her. And I said to myself, I don't want to make these eggs. But I said to myself, you know what? These are some of the things you have to do.
Oh my God.
Lord. Duty and responsibility. I guess I wonder though, because again, we're coming from a place where marriage was the expectation. Everyone, you had to do that. And today, it's not the expectation. It is optional. It's very much something that you get to do if you want to.
Right.
And I know from another perspective, it's because of all of the different opportunities we have. Because again, there was a time where, as a woman,
you had limited
opportunities, and you needed to be attached to a man to be okay.
And that's identity.
And that's not the case anymore.
Right.
So now, do I get married seeking and thinking about this duty or responsibility, or is it because I'm choosing this person and this person makes me feel happy and I want to be with this person because whether he's here or not, my shit's straight.
But I think it's multifaceted. I do think that there is a layer of happiness in marriage that should be worked towards, but also there should be some business in the marriage.
Yeah.
I think that there needs to be some established things that we do for each other that's communicated. Like, but not that it's like out of like out of like olden times, like this is what you have to do. It's like these are things we want to do for each other within the marriage.
But we get to set what the business of our marriage looks like.
You do. You're in charge.
Yes. So the business of my marriage doesn't look like the business in someone else's marriage. It doesn't necessarily mean that in the business of my marriage, there's an expectation that you pay all of the bills and what I get is no.
But there are some rules. But there has to be some established.
What do the rules need to be?
Whatever you want them to be.
What would one of your rules be?
What would one of my rules be within my?
Yeah. What would one of your rules be?
I'm kind of loose, so I don't know. I think a lot of things like
loosey goosey.
I would want somebody who's very emotionally intelligent. Like that's super important to me. Like you have to be able to manage your mental health, your well-being, how you show up in the world. That's very important to me. Yeah, that's probably my number one, to be honest. What's important to you? Because you got a business. You run a business of marriage.
Do we now? Okay.
You do.
A rule in the marriage for me, and I think this is unique to me just because, again, I come from a space and a long line of women where we just, if the shit ain't working, ain't no shame in ending it, right? I come from a long line, and I don't want to say quitters, but I see right away there's some bullshit, and we separate ourselves from that bullshit immediately and keep it moving rather than to just kind of stay in that.
Okay.
And so for me, it's always a space, if you can't have a healthy communication and conversation with me for us to be able to say what is and what isn't. And one of the things that I'm growing with, and that's something that we're still working on, is prioritizing that this family unit is the family unit.
Okay.
I have come to understand.
You and your partner are the family unit. This is the family.
I have come to understand.
This is the family unit.
We are immediate family, and everybody else is now extended family.
Yes.
And that is very, very hard because I think for so long people feel like, well, my immediate family is my mom and my brothers and my sisters and blah, blah, blah. When you choose somebody else and you all create that family, y'all are immediate family, and your mama and all the rest of them become extended family, and that is not priority. That is one of the rules for me. Because there's going to come a time where somebody may call upon you or something happens, and you have to stop and think, how does that impact this household and this home?
I like that.
It's got to be okay. This has to always come first.
I love that.
We got to be in agreement with everything.
But that's going to be different for every.
And it is. It's going to be different for every family and every
marriage. Inc. is going to be different.
Absolutely.
But I love that that's one of yours. That's
we
really
got a question up there.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Absolutely.
So, what I feel that the woman was stating about the MRS is that we go off into the world and we plan out our lives.
Oh yeah.
And we plan out what job we want to have, where we want to live, all these different things, how much money we want to make. But when it comes to the business of finding a mate, we leave that to chance. And that is a huge thing that we do also need to start focusing on, because it shouldn't be by chance that I'm going to meet my Barack, right? I have to put myself in a position of being ready to meet my Barack or whomever. Meaning, if that guy that I want to marry, I want to marry a doctor. Well, guess where I'm going to meet him? In medical school, okay? Or if I want to marry a lawyer, where I'm going to meet him? I'm going to meet him in law school, so maybe I need to go to law school. I need to start, in my mind, setting the intention of the type of person that I want to engage with, right?
What happens when you go to law school and you meet a guy in law school and you finish and he don't? And now you feel tied to him because, oh, I'm in love now.
Okay,
sunken cost fallacy.
Let me finish. So those things may happen, but again, you at least start setting the intention and the goal of what I am looking for. We don't do that generally in love. We meet that person by chance. And we do that because oftentimes in this modern society as women, we're taught that when you start setting those intentions of, I want him to be A, B, and C. Oh, she's a gold digger, you gotta make this much money. Or, oh, that doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means that I am setting the intention of what I'm looking for and what I want. The other thing that comes along with that is it's very important as women that we do figure out those things at an early age. Because if I want to have children, I know that I have a certain time frame that I need to deal with that because those eggs will become hard boiled, all right? But men can actually have children all the rest of their lives. So it doesn't make sense for me to pick someone who doesn't want children, right? I've been dating for 5 years and now I want to get married. You tell me I don't want to get married. What?
We're not having the right conversations early enough.
Right. So again, it's all about setting those intentions ahead of time, early. Like you said, figuring out which pool I need to be in so that I can now find,
Yeah.
I think that goes back to also, do we know ourselves at that age? Do I know myself at 18, 19 well enough to know what I'm really looking for? Because some of us don't. Some of us, how can I be looking for a person when I don't know myself really well, right? I can't be seeking Barack if he's looking for Michelle, but I don't know how to do that, or I don't know that I want to do that yet.
Yeah, I think she answered that question. It's about intention. So the things that you focus on. So if you wake up every morning and you say, I'm looking for A, B, and C, right? And you say that to yourself over and over and over and over again. Subconsciously, you are going to get all the resources that will make you ready when you meet A, B, and C. When you meet A, B, and C, you are not going to be ready at that very moment. But because you've been focusing on that so much, you are going to get the resources to help you to become what A, B, and C is looking for. A good example is if you say to yourself right now, like, me, I want a Ferrari in 3 years. So everywhere I go, they keep popping up. So I'm looking at them, I'm looking at the color, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I want it blue, maybe I want it green, maybe I want this. So I'm kind of like working out all the things that it takes for me to make the right decision when I get there. So as you keep saying to yourself, I want A, B, and C. Everything that you need to be able to, be in a good relationship with A, B, and C, you're going to be running into those things. And those things is going to prepare you until the time that you meet A, B, and C. And by the time that you meet him, everything will be fine because that is what you said you want. And it's presented to you as opposed to not preparing for it. Because these days, more than women have been programmed to, let me focus on if it doesn't work. How about if you focus on, I'm looking for a man, I want children, and I want this and that. Because at the end of the day, when you get all those degrees and you find somebody, you are looking to depend on that man. And there's nothing wrong with it. That is how it is set up to be. The man is supposed to go out, make all the money, take care of the house. Because if he's not taking care of the house, you cannot look up to him. Because you want a man that is going to give you direction. A man that is going to be responsible, taking care of the house and like, hey baby, we're going to do second sex. Not a man that is, pushing you all over the place. I'm talking about a man that really loves you and saying that, hey, this is what I want us to do for our babies. This is what I want us to do in the future. So let's focus on A, B, and C. So what I think is intention. That is what is missing now. And people could focus on what they want and keep working at it. They'll get what they want.
So again, just like she was saying, that's all she's really saying is that you've got to start setting the intention. If it's submissive, start looking. Start putting yourself in position to find what you want.
Yeah.
Just like we want the job. We go to school, we
And we get it.
we do all these different things to align ourselves with that thing that we want. With the relationship, we don't need to leave it that chance. We can start aligning ourselves with the one that we want. And that's what I think.
Yeah. And I think it's perfectly okay if you're there and you don't know yet if you want the business degree. Because I think that the people who had some of the backlash were people who were unsure, and I think they didn't feel seen. But I think it's okay if you don't know. I think a lot of people don't know that they want kids right away. They don't know if they want to get married. Maybe all they know is, I know I want to go to college because that's what I've been encouraged to do or groomed to do, and that's what my focus is. So they're not saying, well, if you're in college, you should also be by default looking to be a Mrs. You can be looking for whatever it is that's good for you, whatever you're looking for. If you know you want to get married, you probably should be moving towards and thinking about that. If you don't know, you don't know.
Okay. So if you don't know, and I'll say this one thing, I'll leave it alone. Okay. if you don't know what you are looking for, it's okay.
Yeah, it is.
But this is what happens, okay? So if you have a ship leaving an island, right, and it's going to Africa, and the captain says, you know what, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to get somewhere, because realistically, you want to get married, right? So if you leave it to chance, chances that you're going to get married is very low, you know, because you are not being conscious of, you know, your actions, and, you know, like she was saying, the places that you go and all that stuff. So when you say to yourself, hey, I want to get married, to start with, everything you do is going to be going towards that. You know, as opposed to, you know, saying that, because it is really hard. And I'm saying this, you know, like she's talking about manifestation and what have you. The things I've been able to manifest is incredible. By just saying that, hey, this is what I want. So when it comes to that, I like to let people know that you know, if you don't have any intentions to say that, oh, you know, things are going to get better. I mean, how better do you want it to get? You know, you want it to get better, like you're a king or you're a queen or you are, you know, how better do you want it to be? So it is so important that we focus on what we want and, you know, try to work at it day by day, you know. And it's okay if you don't know what you want, but at some point you have to decide.
But when you do know that that's something that you want, you will by then begin moving towards that. But if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
I can, you know, from my experience, I think it's easy to not know if you want to get married if you're not meeting guys that you could see yourself marrying and being with. It's not something you necessarily know in that moment, or if you haven't seen a lot of marriages, or if you feel like right now my focus are so many other things, I haven't put any thought into, do I want to get married, or do I see myself as a mom? Because those are things that when we're not, if you don't want them and you get into them, they can go bad, right? If you don't want to be a parent and it just happens, it may not be a great experience. Hell, you could be a parent after you want to be a parent and it still might not be a great experience. You just never know. I think though, it's a big task to say, going into college at 18, that we should be knowing and we should start looking and we should start moving. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I think when you know that that's what you want, that's when you start to go ahead that process of manifesting. But if you genuinely don't know, you shouldn't feel bad for being in a space of just not knowing yet. Yeah. You shouldn't feel bad or feel the pressure of, well, let me sit down the next week and sit in my house and try to figure it out. Do I want to be a missus? Do I want to do this? If I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah, and something like you guys said, which makes sense, you know, based on what you just said. Some parents, I wouldn't say all parents, are not doing a good job sitting down with the children and having certain conversations with them. Because I remember, I never had a conversation with my parents about, you know, all the things I need to know about, you know, women. I didn't have any conversations about, you know, how to groom yourself as a man, you know, like certain things that, you know, parents are supposed to pass on to us. And some of these parents are not doing it, you know, for whatever reason. I mean, they're too busy, you know, trying to, you know, feed us, keep the lights on, and the list goes on and on. But the bottom line is that if parents are preparing us, you know, by the time we get to 18, and I'm not saying that, you know, somebody should get married at 18, but at least, you know, at 20, 21, 22, you would have, you know, the things you need to be able to make a decision whether you want to get with somebody, or at least by 25, you know, you married.
Numbers become arbitrary.
I know.
But this has been a fruitful discussion. Our audience has been amazing.
Oh, so
thank you.
We
oh my
time.
God, we hit
the time. That's what it is. She's wrapping it up.
We hit the time. Like, I mean, but effortlessly. Like, so I know that this is going to be a huge thing. So if you are watching this today, if you are here now, you are on the ground floor of something that I can see being absolutely amazing. So I thank everybody for listening and watching and joining and contributing. It was amazing. Any final words, April?
Like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the YouTube the Instagram, the TikTok. Like the videos. Catch up if this is your first video. Go back and watch some of the other ones. They're goodies.
Please. Yes. I want to thank Creative Space so much. This has been an amazing opportunity. Word on the street, we might get to do it again. And all right, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, like Miss April said. And please comment, leave comments under this. We're going to check the comments. We're going to reply to the comments. Thank you for being part of our community. Keep it spicy.
It's sweet, I guess. Have a good day.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye.